Hello,
Hello.
hello, hello everyone. Good evening and welcome to UXTalks. Let's talk about UX. So we are at season 3, and quickly we'll jump on our main topic. So, and before that, I just quickly I want to share a few updates. So then definitely we have our main speakers. I will introduce. Uh, So first of all, UX Talk has few updates to share that we are in partners with like few great people around the globe. So we have a first partnership with HFIND. This is a tech company in US, and they are in human factors engineering and everything. So UX Talk is now official partners with them. Uh, Today we have a very big announcement that we are also partner with ADP List. So ADP List is one of our upcoming global mentor platform for UX and designing. So UX Talks is now a partner with them. So stay tuned for very good activities in design. Global community is watching us, and hopefully we can bring a lot of good speakers and topics in a UX talk. Yes. Now coming back to our today's topic and our great speaker, that's Niraali Parekh with us. Thank you, Nirali, for joining today for this wonderful UX talk. And I think this is the second time you are on the UX talk. And last time we made very different scenario. Everybody in a different pandemic,
Yeah.
and you are at US, and still you managed to give us a time, and that was wonderful.
Thank
But
you, Tushar. Thank you for organizing this talk for today.
so yes, so without wasting time, we will start our UX talk. Eventually, I will post this on our podcast and YouTube channel. So whoever today is not able to join, they will have they can follow some other channels. Okay. So yes, let's start. So today is very interesting topic. So before we jump on our core topic, I will request Nirali, please introduce yourself. She is a very dynamic lady and founder of a very big design studio in Mumbai. So please tell us about yourself. Yeah.
Sure. So, as Tushar already said, I am the founder and creative director of Bokaap Design. I bring over 18 years of experience working with startups and established corporates across India, USA, UK, and Asia. I started my journey studying design in the US, and I worked there for a few years in the field before deciding to bring my skills and expertise to India. And I founded my studio in 2010. It was under a different name earlier, and I went through a rebranding process in 2020 where Bokaap Design was born, so to speak. And the whole idea of starting my own studio was to deliver strategic design solutions, practice with good ethics, and the standard and quality of a boutique design studio. So essentially, through all of my services, which is branding and UX UI design, I delve into the core of the business objectives, understand the users, and craft strategic design-led solutions that drive business forward.
Right. Good. Great. Yes. So very first question today. We can start with so basic. What is UX? And how you take. What is your take on that? And what you think as a
So
yeah,
So for me, UX, like everybody knows, user experience. And if you break the two words apart, it is the relationship between the product and the person using the product. At the crux of it, it is about the user who is going to experience the product that you are creating. Whether it is I mean, I know we are talking about digital UX, but in general, for me, user experience is everywhere. It could be the experience of a user interacting with a digital product, but in the larger grand scheme of things, it's also user experience in the physical world also. The field of UX has grown into CX and service design and so many other things. But for the purpose of this talk, the whole purpose of UX is to ensure that we have understood the user behaviors, their motivations to use a product, their emotional journey, and ultimately understood how we can support them by giving them a seamless experience uh, with the interface.
Right. So see, I know you have very strong background or design by learning and then implementing as an entrepreneur. How you think that that journey helps you, implementing actual UX process, right? Or you can share with
So
entrepreneur journey here also. That will be great. Yeah.
yeah, so I think it's important to also note that UX is also is a very vast field. We have UX researchers who appear in the initial stages of a product to research user motivations and behavior. We have UX design. A UX designer takes the insights to work on the product's actual design. So I started out as a I started out as a visual communication designer and a branding designer. I'd also studied web design and studied web development, and that's what I worked in. But what was common, even though I didn't, I mean, the UX as a field did not exist when I started started working as a designer. But what was important, what I understood at the start of it, is you can't do any design without understanding why we are doing it and who is going to use it. So that thought was always in my mind, even though UX as a field, as a term, was not did not exist, 15, 18 years ago. So my experience has always been to gradually, as the field got more and more, gain more and more popularity, and we worked with many companies as well to understand how their business problem could be solved, and how could their products be better. We started focusing on the users themselves. So it was kind of like, for me, it was an organic growth into this field, and then in parallelly to understand that globally also UX, there is something like UX that is starting up, and that's how I started getting more into
Right.
researching before designing.
Right. Great. Uh, so coming back to our core topic today, how UX is benefits to business and everything. So before we come on a business, how UX process you imply or how in the product development you think is those are beneficial.
So UX is rooted in the design thinking process, and I'm sure some of you must be knowing the design thinking process, which follows 5 steps: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Now, by following this process, businesses ensure that they have taken care of their users' need at the very start of their product life cycle. So, of course, they must have conducted their business research. They must have conducted, market research to define the need of the product. But where UX comes in is to understand and research the user's motivation as to why would someone come and use their product, what would motivate them to use the product, how could we emotionally engage them in our product and design, define a product to be different from the competitors. Businesses are able to test the designs. They can iterate as many times as they want to before they're developing the product. So in my opinion, actually design has become the UX process has become the core of any product design company, any company that wants to start with, whether it's a mobile app or any interaction oriented company, because they're saving costs. There are a lot of factors that come in. They're saving costs, they're doing quicker iterations. um, they're able to test the product with the users before it's even developed, to negate any chances of a wrong decision that is made.
Right. So coming back to very different question, how pandemic happened and how UX companies they respond on that. So
So pandemic was actually a good thing for UX designers, right? I think you will agree to that.
right. So how affects this business? How you think in a futuristic UX for both for as a company and for who practice UX people who want to make career in future and they want to build their career in the UX. How pandemics has impact on this thing?
So I would say in terms of UX UI design as a field, the pandemic has actually been fairly positive. It has been a positive impact on our field because uh, companies that were not already digital in their approach now suddenly realize that, okay, even if I'm a mom and pop store, I need to have a website. Even though I have a retail store, I need to sell online. Even a lot of companies, traditional businesses also needed to think of digital processes. So when they started thinking of going digital, traditionally they were thinking of developers, but because the awareness of UX UI design had started to get built up, uh, the role of UX UI designers started becoming more and more important. And the pandemic has only uplifted the value that businesses started seeing in UX UI designers. And as a result, what I noticed, at least in the last 2, 3 years, and more so in the last 2 years, the number of UX UI designers that have increased. Even developers want to become UX UI designers. Even like people are really changing their careers now to wanting to study UX UI
Right.
design because they're seeing a real opportunity.
Right. Yeah. So that actually a good thing for for businesses and even for, as I think, uh,
Yeah,
the user, and there are a lot of opportunities. Yes, this will create a lot of challenges for us to develop
yeah.
more user friendly. But again, coming back to our core business subject, today UX. So what is UX? ROI when you talk about it. So how this will help to, as any in your business, how you actually that grows in a business when you implement UX things. Like,
So, like I was telling you earlier, right, that if a company is design centric, and when I say design centric, they do have UX designers, they do have UI designers as part of their core team. These designers are involved in the early stage of the product. They're part of every decision making. They're part of like actually conceptualizing the product as well. And why that helps is, again, like I was saying before, we think from a user-centric approach. We're coming in, the business thinks business, marketing thinks marketing, developers are thinking developers. But we come in and bring our experience saying, okay, you know what, who are we doing this for? What are they coming to our app for? Let's go in there and let's dig deeper and let's talk to the users. Let's create surveys. Let's do some research and understand that what we're conceptualizing and what we want to build is actually resonating with the potential users who are going to be using the app. So what I like to tell my clients, and this research has claimed also that for every dollar invested in UX UI design returns US dollar like 10 to 100. So for example, and some examples that I was reading about earlier, a simple tweak to the UI of Amazon has contributed roughly $2.7 billion in revenue. So you can just tell, like, what is the importance of design. And often businesses don't like to think of the return of investment when it comes to UX UI designers because they haven't thought how in depth we go when we are actually designing the products, because we're not just designing something to make it look good. We're actually going into the research aspect. We're actually uncovering the why and the how, and getting into the user's minds. So when you think from that angle, uh, we're able to help businesses really uh, avoid making big mistakes at an earlier stage, right?
right,
So when you avoid help them avoid make the business big, avoid help them making big mistakes, they're saving costs in the development process. They're saving time. Also, they're able to iterate and see different options and take it down to the users and test it out as well. So and then when we go down to actually in seeing the investment into the final designs, there's so many things. You're increasing user conversion on if it's a website. A good user experience ensures that a user coming to the site is able to find what they're looking for quickly. They may not go to a competitor site then, because if it's a bad user experience, they may just leave the website and go to your competitor site because every competition exists everywhere. So the ROI of UX UI design is actually pretty high. uh, and businesses need to start thinking about it in those
right.
terms, because the impact goes beyond just the process. The impact goes even when the product is live, because they're seeing the results in the user's behavior once they're on the product.
Yeah. So, in your company, basically, in Bokaap, how you, like, technology-wise, you see, and what is your future plan? How type of clients and how you are, no, how this effect basically when you start and specifically after pandemic itself, uh, how you see, where you are and what kind of customers and how your business is like, how is beneficial basically.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
correct. So, like I said, we are a branding and UX UI design firm. So, I would say about 5, 6 years ago, we started. So, we were more branding, less UX UI. Then there was a shift that happened, and we became more UX UI, and there was still branding, and that put us in a very good position when the pandemic hit because we already had our core ready to cater to the clients who now were hungry to be online in various aspects. Where we see us growing, it's great. We actually had an opportunity working with a crypto investment app. I would love to do more in the spaces of this new world that is out there. There is
Right.
the new web format that is out there. I would love to work in the AR VR space to see how UX UI design can be taken beyond just the 2D surface.
Right.
And hopefully,
Right.
that's the course that we will take.
So, see, what I understood now, Satrita, you started as a design studio and then it was up and down. So, same question now for UX people who are trying to make career and people who are like from pure design background, from design school and they graduate and then they have a now big question, whether they pursue as a pure design career or there is a hype is going on, oh, there is a UX. So, what is your
Yeah.
advice for these people like?
So I do feel having a good design foundation helps. So again, I'll go back to there's UX and there's UI. So you need to understand what you want to get into. UX is different from UI. Of course, they both work, they have to work together. So first you need to decide where do you see your skill set fitting. Of course, now UX UI together has become a very common thing because everybody, UX UI designer does a little bit of UX, does a little bit of UI, but it's very, very important to understand the difference between the two. So if you have a foundation in design, you would make a good UI designer. That's for sure because your foundation is solid. But what I always tell designers is that if you want to set yourself to be apart from everybody else, who's turned from designer to wanting to be a UX UI designer, is to also think UX, to start thinking about the research aspect of it, start thinking about user research, inquire more into why we're doing what we're doing and why should we make the decisions that we're making. And that will make a better UX UI designer overall is if they also think from the research and strategy angle and start understanding about all the different UX processes as well. And of course, if you're a UX designer, then it's a completely different field as well. So from a designer shifting to UX UI design, I don't think that there's a major shift, but I think what I have noticed is a lot of people from different professionals, like developers wanting to be UX UI designers, or from very extreme fields, they want to get into UX UI design because they know that this is a very lucrative field
Right.
at the moment. But to them, my advice is that really understand the concepts and the foundations of what makes a UX UI designer. There is a process to it. There is theory that goes into it. So, working with, professionals in the industry and learn. There are a lot of online classes available there. So if you are a UI designer, understand the foundations of design, understand typography, understand color theory, understand why we should be using certain kinds of UI elements to make better, make something look and feel right for the brand and right for the users who are going to be using it. And if it's UX, get into the UX process as well.
Great. Uh, so I just request if any question, please put in a Zoom chat so we can take. Okay. Yeah. Coming couple of last questions I have. Okay. So
Yeah.
coming back to our again the how UX can fuel the business. So on this particular, what is your take? How businesses can take a use of this UX and how they can move their businesses and again main topic you are discussing earlier it is the ROI. So how this can fuel the thing entire and business can be growth from say level 1 to level 2 or how they can go like can share some light on this.
Yeah. So I like so I fundamentally believe that design needs to be at the core of any team, of any product design team, any product team. Earlier, that was not the case. Now that awareness is coming. And fundamentally, why design should be at the core of it is because of the way, that process that we employ in whatever work that we do, the design thinking process that we bring to the thing. And the businesses will start seeing major improvements ultimately in their the performance of their products in their ROI, because uh, as I mentioned before, when you have UX UI designers on board, you are investing in research at an earlier stage. You are making decisions based on what the users actually need. You're differentiating yourself from your competitors in terms of how what the user experiences, also the look and feel of your interface, whatever the interface is. You're saving costs at an earlier stage. You're reducing time. So all of that, of course, helps with the resources, right, in terms of ROI. But overall, the impact is you're getting a better product at the end of it. It's not something that someone can just come in. So, like for example, if you look at any OTT platform. Like, let's say you go in as a user and you want to search for a movie, and if supposing a designer was not part of the process, the functionality to search for something, but it may not have been put in a place which is logical, where they've actually gotten into the user psychology, understand why there is something called familiarity in interface design. There is something called proximity when you put elements together. So understanding those principles of design in designing this OTT platform, you're able to search something easily rather than just showing a list of movies that you can just choose from, right? Uh, so there are different ways. So you start businesses will start seeing impact at every step of their products cycle, even once it's launched. And then they'll get user feedback, for example, and then they have designers to quickly implement those user feedback, also to make better versions of the app. And that's one thing that everybody needs to understand, that a product is never complete.
Right.
Product is continuously evolving, and
Right.
that's where designers come into the play, because designers are able to iterate, show options, do A/B testing with the users to see which is getting better feedback or not, before even any money is spent on development, which is a higher cost.
Right. I think you correctly said, no, product is always in a evolving stage. I think better if you deliver a good revenue generating product, then I think same customer is coming back to us only. So where
Exactly, you're
we
able to retain customers. Exactly,
right,
you're not losing them to your competitors. You're really getting into the mind of the users and see why they're enjoying using your app, or why were they enjoying using your competitors' app, and how can you make yours better?
right. I think this is a challenge. I think that UX professionals should they have to crack this. So this is the main crux where we can play a big role so that our customer get a it is like a chain reaction, right? If you deliver, then the user will get something, the client is happy, then he will come back to us again. So it is like same. So I think win-win situation for both for us and yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes though what happens is there are many early stage startups that don't have the budget for intensive UX research, and they just want an MVP out in the market very quickly. They have a very different mindset, but even to them, even those kind of clients, I do tell them that, okay, you may not go all out and you may not do the entire process, but whatever it is you can do, involve the users at an early stage in whatever capacity you can.
Then just you brought up one startup angle here. So where you feel comfortable to working with startups or it is like it is very tricky question. Business
It is a very tricky
funding,
question.
yeah. But no,
Startups actually provide a good startups give you like really interesting products to work for,
right.
so
So,
that is always exciting.
right, right. No, I'm talking about, also about UX maturity itself. When we work with a client who already has a UX maturity, then maybe our life is easy. That is, I think, something.
Yeah, with startups you can actually start ground up and build that relationship with the startup as they grow as well. So they may not have the budget initially to invest in the entire UX like from user journey to empathy maps to user flows, journeys, wireframing design. Sometimes they also come to us saying, we have already developed this product, we want to make it look better.
Right.
But then they see the value that we bring in, because we may not do the full UX process. We're still saying, okay, if you put this like this will work better for XYZ reason. So they start seeing the value that we bring in. So then the next time they're revamping the product, they're more likely to think UX UI design first.
I think yes. I think that UX maturity slowly will develop with even businesses also. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, any question? I have one more question. If audience is not asking. Okay. So yes, now from now, how you think? No, how UX is going in future? The technology, as you said, you are also exploring AR and other technologies. So UX and UX maturity and how you implement within your company, how that is going to be built in the future, and what kind of possible, in Indian particularly Indian market, or how we give a solution to the overseas, where you see difference now last 1 2 years, where we are standing now as a UX solution providers, right?
So I definitely, I mean, of course, the opportunity for Indian UX UI designers have opened up, right, with remote working, and there are companies globally who are seeking Indian talent. I don't know how it works, in that global context. Of course, it's a win-win for two, in terms of what the global company is getting with an Indian designer. I do feel though, with the influx of people converting into the UX UI field, maybe uh, there needs to be a little bit more focus into training and getting in, just getting more and more mature as experts, and really working hands-on wherever you can in a team environment where you're not completely remote to begin with. Because in a small, so I'm a small studio. I want to remain small, and the reason being is because I want my team members to be directly involved with the clients. There is joy in knowing exactly everything from start to finish and being able to execute your designs, because you are directly communicating with the clients, you're directly communicating with the users, you're part of the entire process. So that is my plan going forward as well, is to remain boutique so that every designer who's working with me is part of every step of the process. In terms of UX maturity, yes, there's I mean, there is more, acceptance of our field, and uh, companies are starting to see the value in design. Some top companies in the world, around the world, have now made design a very core function in their businesses. I'm not talking only about UX UI design, but employing design thinking in various aspects of their businesses. So that maturity is coming now.
Yes, I think we can talk actually endlessly on these topics. And yes, I think we have a time constraint, and from your busy schedule, you have given us time for this wonderful talk. Yeah, lastly, anything you want to add in this, that your views, how?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody else has questions, I'll be happy to, have a discussion, not even a question answer, but just a discussion also.
Sure, sure. Just audience, if you have any question, please put in a chat. We can take those questions.
So what has been your views the last 2 years on?
See, definitely, maturity level we are improving, but definitely we are giving a challenge to the lot of other competitor, even IT sectors. The problem is still we have what I observe. Sometimes our Indian companies are not ready to accept that UX is a solution for many things. That is that
Yeah,
respect
yeah.
UX maturity we have to develop. Technically, we are sound people. Technically, always Indians are
We've
more
always been sound.
better
Yeah.
than that is. Okay. But yes, slowly as the technology emerges, a lot of immersive technologies there, we can contribute. There are a lot of fields are coming. Healthcare is one of the major after pandemic. I think we have a lot of opportunity. We can give a solution for the world in a UX way somewhere,
Yeah.
that we can bring. I think we have one question. Sally is asking, what is UX maturity exactly?
So UX maturity, according to me and according to you, might be very different. According to me, UX maturity is the acceptance of the UX process in the industry in general. Like how much are businesses willing to in two ways adopt UX as part of their core product team, and then different thing is how mature are we as in general population in India to really understand what really is UX. How deep actually does it go in? It's not just surface level. We've done a user flow, we've done a wireframe, and that's UX. That's not UX.
Right. I think UX maturity is also about how we implement practice that way, because nowadays what happened it is some people think we just go some bootcamp and we can just learning bootcamp we are a UX practitioner. So we have to think that way. It is a problem.
Practice. Yeah, you have to practice, work with, and that's what I was saying. That there are a lot of people who do these boot camps and they start freelancing and they're on all of these freelancing platforms and getting great, and it works if you're looking to, if money is your objective, right? But if really getting good at what you're doing is the objective, work with a company, get hands-on experience, work with as many products as you possibly can through those companies, because that's how you're really going to learn, and you will evolve as a designer as well.
Right.
Because, and also it's all about the team as well, right? It's interacting within the team. It's people at the end of the day. It's about people. The people are the users, people are your team members, people are the clients, it is about people. And that's how you're going to learn and become more mature as a UX UI designer.
Yeah, that in funny way I always say, it is about humans. No Martian is coming to use your product. So at least once that come, then we'll think about Martian centric design. But at least now we are dealing with humans. So at least think about humans and then great. I think audience is quite today. But anyway, I think always being very interesting interacting. Last time also we have done very interactive. Hope we have we can arrange some more topics, different topics, and more interact. Thanks once again, Niraali, and always pleasure having the conversation with
Thank you. Pleasure is mine, and thank you as well. It's a pleasure.
So probably I'm in Mumbai probably next month, so let's catch up somewhere.
Definitely.
Sure. Thanks everyone for participating in this attending UX talk. Soon I will posting this interesting conversation on our channels, so please follow. You can follow Niraali on LinkedIn company page, so that lot of activities she is also involved and she is doing. So lot of good thing is happening after pandemic. So let's hope everyone will have a great time ahead. Thanks once again. Thanks, Niraali, for taking time out. And
thank you, Tushar.
Have a good night and take care, everyone. Bye. See you.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.